Hello and welcome back to Typical City. This is your latest Manchester City news and transfer news. Bernardo Silva, please do not go. Please don't go. If you leave me now, you take away the biggest part of me. Oh, Silva, please don't go. That's enough. That is enough of that right there. Sorry if I've ruined your breakfast with that. But Kyle Walker, is he going to be getting a 2-year contract extension? And are we in for two promising youngsters, one more so than the other, I believe, but as well as another youngster of ours going out on loan, which I'm actually quite happy about. I think it will be good for him, but there's one place to start, and it's Bernardo Silva. It's picking up pace. The likeliness of him going to Paris Saint-Germain is growing and growing. Le Parisien, the publication there, is suggesting that he's already made his mind up. And we did see Grealish as well. I think that was a bit of a giveaway. Grealish on the parade bus, on the top deck of the parade bus, celebrating the infamous treble. He said, please don't go. No, Bernardo, please don't go. That sort of joking and jesting and things like that. So I think there was an idea. I think they've obviously had conversations that he has intentions of leaving. He's recently just got married as well, which we all saw the pictures of him, Ruben Dias, Kyle Walker, and João Cancelo, which go and look at that photo, by the way, because they're all in their formation. Minus Mendes, the agent, in the middle. He's obviously the middleman linking some of those players together, in particular the Portuguese superstars. But you've got Bernardo Silva drifting in the middle, Mahrez out wide, Cancelo on the left, Walker just along on the right-hand side of Ruben Dias, the rock at the back of that photo. It was a bit uncanny to a Pep formation, but in more serious news, I do think it's going to happen. It's looking more and more likely. But 45 to 50 million pounds. Are you having a laugh? Are you having a laugh? 28 years old. He's literally hitting the peak of his career right now. And we're suggesting that we can let him go for 45 million to 50 million pounds. That is an absolute bargain for anyone who wants to sign him. Paris Saint-Germain is the most likeliest place, I believe. Saudi Arabia also, some team over there, I can't remember the name of it, they all sound so similar, no disrespect to the Saudi Arabian league, but I struggle to pronounce most of their teams. 800 grand a week, one of them's offering. 800 grand a week. Close to nearly £80 a minute. That's outrageous. And I mean, obviously, I think he respects his career more than that. Obviously, it's a lot of money. Some people in this world, they'd rather snap your hands off and take that money and end your career in the Saudi Arabian League. But going from a treble-winning Manchester City side to the Saudi Arabian League, that is absolutely, what a dip and what a horrible way to end your career. It's such a downwards decline in your career. So I can't see him doing that. Paris Saint-Germain is probably sees it as a bigger project for him. They haven't won the Champions League. Can they do that with the likes of Bernardo Silva? It certainly increases their chances, because what a player, what a servant he has been. He wanted out last season. We can't forget that Barcelona were in for him last season, and that never materialised. I think Pep just wouldn't let go. He just did not let go of him. He just grabbed hold of him and said, you're not going anywhere, mate. And he does come across as the submissive type of character who says, okay, I'll give you another year. And what a year it was. Great decision on his part, because his trophy cabinet has increased massively as a result of that. But 45 million to 50 million, that is way too cheap. You've got to be looking at 70, 80, surely. Even if we drop down to 60, I could live with that. But 45 million pounds, we paid that for him, and he was more or less an unknown quantity playing at Monaco. I remember the game what a game it was as well. Monaco City Champions League, and he ran Yaya Toure ragged all game at the Etihad. I remember Falcao. I think it was a hat trick from Falcao. What a game that was. Bernardo Silva was very much central to the quality of their performance that night. Pep's eyes lit up looking at Bernardo Silva. You are my man. And he went and got him, and what a career, Manchester City career he's ended up having. And it would be sad to see him go. It really, really would. I'd be gutted to see him leave. We can't restrain him, but I do think he's going to be our biggest loss. People are talking about a mass exodus at City. So far, Gundogan, that's it. That's all that's gone. But they are suggesting that there's so many players now, the list is growing of players that are leaving: Laporte, Mahrez, Bernardo Silva. So these need replacing. Clearly, these players need replacing, that quality of player. But for me, Moussa Diaby is someone we've never been rumoured with, never been linked with. Bayer Leverkusen, 23-year-old, left-footed, got goals under his belt, assists under his belt last season. Impressive player, and speed in abundance, and that's someone that's an attribute that we're slowly starting to lack. Another player that could fill the boots of Bernardo Silva if we call Bernardo Silva a winger, that is, because that's what's so impressive about Bernardo Silva is the players that we're linked with to replace him. I'm not convinced they have that versatility to drop into midfield and play alongside De Bruyne and Gundogan when he was there, and Foden can do that. And maybe this is the time for Foden to step up, because I don't think his game time was that. But he started the season playing week in, week out. It was Grealish and Foden, and very much alongside Erling Haaland for the first half of the season. But the second half of the season, injuries played a part. He obviously had that surgery. I can't remember what it was. Was it gallbladder stones? I can't remember what it was, but it was a serious surgery. He needed 4 to 6 weeks out, which obviously hampered the rest of his season. Could Foden fill the boots? Could we already have the answer within our roster? And I think we may well have. Kvaratskhelia is another one that's gone quiet. He reminds me more of Jack Grealish, to be honest. The way, obviously, the physical appearance of having his socks so low down his calves is one of the attributes that Grealish likes to have. He's very much a winger, though. I'm not convinced we're going to be asking these players that we're linked with to drop into midfield like Bernardo can do. So that's the biggest player that we'll need replacing, Bernardo Silva. But into other news, Kyle Walker is supposed to be getting a 2-year contract extension, which I am extremely happy about. I think some people are still concerned about the image that he's stained on City by getting his knob out in Revs. I actually went to the exact spot, not to study the crime scene or anything like that, just because I went for a drink. But I went to the Revolutions. It was in Wilmslow, actually. I went to the Revolution that he was in, recorded on CCTV. Now, I've seen the footage back. When I first made the comment, saw the still footage, it was photographs of Kyle Walker. I saw the images and I thought, you're an animal, mate. You're an animal. That's awful behaviour. You can't be doing that. Forget whether you're a football player or not. Just getting your knob out is unacceptable in public. I've seen the footage back, and the girl very much grabs him more than the other way round. So I'm not convinced that it was as horrible as the headlines made out and as the photos made out. Seeing the footage, actual video played back, it does seem like she's grabbing his pants. Anyway, we're going way off topic here. We're talking about genitalia and exposés. Getting a bit outrageous here on Typical City. Like and subscribe if you're new to the channel, by the way. 2-year contract extension. I'm happy. The speed that Kyle Walker has, and he bails us out of so many situations. Really, really impressive player. I still think being in his 30s now, he's got 2 years of those legs. I didn't see any signs. He's started to pick up a few injuries year on year, though. That is my concern. But the amount of times that he's bailed us out from horrible-looking counter-attacks that we look susceptible to, and he's just there. Vinicius Jr. is the first one that springs to mind. He's done it to Mbappe as well against PSG, numerous times, in fact. So it would be sad to go. But my concern with the 2-year contract extension is, why didn't we give Gundogan a 2-year contract extension? Because the reason he's left is for family security, being told that you're going to be at one place at one time and getting your kids into a school and knowing they're going to stay there is a big factor in family life. I can testify to that. So you want that security, and we were only prepared to offer him a 1-year contract. I don't know why Kyle Walker deserves a 2-year contract, but Gundogan doesn't. That is a concern to me, and something that doesn't quite marry up for my liking. But in other news, lesser news as well, 2 youngsters, Rodrigo Riquelme and Oscar Glock, 2 young lads. Let's start with Riquelme, 23-year-old. And this was coming from Angel Garcia and AS Publication as well. And they actually had conflicting information as well that was suggesting that there was a £15 million offer from City, but it was actually £30 million offer, and what his buyout clause was. They were working together, but getting their information, there was crossed wires happening there. So the legitimacy of this source, take it with a pinch of salt. That's all I would say. But loan spells at Bournemouth saw him have 16 appearances 2 years ago with 1 goal to his name. Didn't tear up any trees. Same again at Girona, which is a CFG club, of course, links with City, so City may have had a close eye on him at least. He looks a capable player, but is he up to our standards? And at 23, you're expecting you more or less on your way to becoming that level. You're a first-team player. We can't be signing 23-year-old players that are not going to be challenging for the starting 11 at least, getting into it or challenging, sitting on the bench or rotating between the starting 11 throughout the course of the season. And I'm not convinced he's at that level yet. Oscar Glock is another player that same, younger, Israeli. I'm not so sure that the type of... This is from Ed Aarons of The Guardian, by the way. 15 appearances and 2 goals. I got Mahrez vibes, which is another player we could end up needing replacing. Left-footed. No, he is right-footed. Mahrez being the left-footed player, of course. He's got that nice chop and he can carry the ball really well and he teases players. You know, he dangles the carrot a lot in front of players like, do you want it? Do you want it? Ah, I'm past you. Little dink, a little chip over there, flailing leg, and he's past you. So he looks like a prospect. His age is a bit better. He's 20 years old, under 21 international Israeli, played against England in the Euros a couple of years back and scored in the final. He looks like a good player. United, Spurs, Arsenal, all linked for him. Arsenal as well, by the way, going back, rewind, Declan Rice as well. Congratulations to Arsenal for signing Declan Rice. And congratulations, I never congratulated Declan Rice on his trophy as well at the end of last season. His first and probably last trophy. I'm poking the bear a little bit there. I'm wondering whether Arsenal are going to go on and win trophies because they are spending lavish amounts of money right now and no one's saying anything. It's not ruining football or anything, is it? It's perfectly legitimate spending when it comes to Arsenal doing it. They're allowed to do it. But they are breaking the bank, showing their intentions. So pressure's on Arsenal now. You've got your man, you've got your Declan Rice, you've got Kai Havertz, Timber's on his way, you've got plenty of players and expenditure available to Arsenal, which you've got to be challenging for the title. If that's what you're doing and the intentions are clear, the results have to bear fruit. And if they don't win a trophy next year, that is an absolute failure as far as I'm concerned. But there's every chance they could. And then Cole Palmer is the final bit of news I wanted to give you today. That's picking up pace. The likeliness of him going to Brighton is increasing. I would like that to happen. For his own development, Brighton, everyone seems to want to sell Brighton's players. And their recruiting staff, I mean, we should be looking... If we're talking about a transfer market, should we be looking at Brighton's recruiting model? Because some of the signings that they've made, Caicedo getting out and numerous other players... I mean, they are an immense outfit for such a small budget and a small pulling factor as well as a club for Brighton. They're not a small club, but they don't have the pull of Champions League. And De Zerbi's doing an absolute wonder job there after following Potter as well, which was he left reasonably good model to follow, but De Zerbi took it to another level. I thought it was a hard act to follow because Graham Potter did a great job at Brighton, but De Zerbi's taken it even further than that. So Brighton are a very admirable club, and I would like to see Cole Palmer be integrated into that squad, play more football, get more Premier League minutes under your belt, and don't sell him. Even if we do sell him, we're probably going to include a buyback clause, like it seems to be a formality now whenever we sell these youngsters. But Cole Palmer for me is definitely he's got potential to be a first team City player, and maybe we see them go out on loan to Brighton. Could be the stepping stone that he needs to come back to City and see his career flourish under Pep Guardiola. That remains to be seen. It is a rare thing to see a player go out on loan and come back to the club that they were loaned out from and continue at that club. It's very, very rare because when the club send you out on loan, it almost feels like your foot's halfway out of the door already when you make that step. So whether that's the case, I hope it's not, because I do want to see Cole Palmer. But Gvardiol news as well, there's no news on that whatsoever, no developments on that. situation yet, but it would be nice to see him playing alongside Ruben Diaz. I would love to see him alongside Ruben Diaz. And Ruben Diaz, go and check his Instagram out, by the way. What is he doing? Some of his poses, man. James Bond, the Portuguese James Bond, just with his locks and his absolutely ripped six-pack just there, like posing, like looking off into the distance on his yacht, just like there, like it's the most cringe photos you've ever seen. But I love him on the pitch. But what are you playing at off the pitch? What is he doing? But anyway, Blues, get in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the transfer rumours today. Like and subscribe. Typical City is the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.
This is Typical City now.